Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba and welcome to Top Tip Tuesday. Today, tips on diving here in the UK. Whilst many of these are obviously not limited to just diving here in the UK, I found some of these quite useful over the years diving at home. Bring a pair of hoods. One hood is essential to keeping your head warm for longer dives and in the colder months, but a pair of hoods means that you don't have to put that soggy cold hood back on before your second dive. Wear one hood for dive 1 and then stow it away and then pull out a fresh dry hood for dive number 2. It's so much nicer and it just starts your dive on a plus instead of a negative by going ugh. Dry bags are your friend. Get yourself a bunch of those little roll top dry bags so that you can organize and protect your gear. A lot of the time when you're out at sea, you're exposed to rain and spray from the ocean, so when you actually open your bag to grab something, you don't soak all of your gear because it's all safe inside its own little dry bag on the inside. Pop your topside stuff like your keys, your phone and your wallet in one small bag, a change of clothes in another, and have one big bag for your wet accessories like your hoods and your gloves that you can just put stuff into after the dive. Bring a hat, both when it's warm and when it's cold. Your head is obviously very exposed between dives, so I like to wear a beanie during the colder months to keep my head warm, and like a baseball cap in the warmer months to protect from just all sorts. A peaked cap can keep the sun out of your eyes when it's bright, the rain when it's obviously raining, it's going to keep all of that out of your eyes, the sea spray from coming in, just kind of look down and it blocks it all from getting in your eyes, so bring a decent hat with you. Secure your gear as tight as possible because it will move, and if you do see someone else's gear starting to rock a little bit, then just do them a favor and secure it for them before it falls and crashes. Don't rely on them to notice it because chances are they're probably deep in conversation. But also, if you do secure their gear, just let them know that you've secured it so that they know to check it before they get ready. Of course, let anybody know if you've done anything to their equipment so that they know to check it before they go on the dive. But if there's any freedom of movement for something like a cylinder to move around, then it's going to roll and it's going to eventually cause some damage. So secure it down tightly. Whilst we're talking about keeping stuff tight, when you send up a DSMB, keep tension on that line, so pull it down a little bit. That way your SMB sticks straight up in the water when it's on the surface. With choppy water, an SMB that's on the surface, that's just lying down, can be hidden between the waves. But if you pull that line tight, pulls the bottom downwards and it's going to stand up tall above the waves and it will help it be seen. So don't let that line go slack when you're underwater. Just give it a little tug so there's always a bit of tension, and that way your SMB is always upright. Bring a compass wherever you go. It's easy enough to get turned around in the water, but in poor visibility, you can lose direction very, very easily, and a reliable compass can keep you oriented and find what you're looking for. Glance at it at the beginning of the dive so that you can have in mind where your entry point is, and then if you ever feel like you've been turned around underwater, just look at it and then you kind of know which way your entry point is and then where other things are in relation to it. Try not to touch anything. Now, I know this is a standard scuba rule to not touch anything, but be careful when grabbing things, especially like rope lines and ledges, because marine life, like mussels and barnacles and things, they can have some really sharp edges and you can shred your hands or your gloves very easily when you just grab at things. The same for shipwrecks, obviously. It can be tempting to sort of grab onto a ledge to steady yourself, but a rusty edge of metal is the last thing that you want to touch, especially with wet hands. So do your best to work on your buoyancy and just have it as a reference, but try not to grab anything because all it takes is for a little bit of movement and it can slice through your equipment. Put your undersuit on before breakfast. Most divers don't really consider when they're going to get changed before the dive, and they end up leaving it just too late, and they have to take their nice warm clothes off on the deck of the boat in the wind with the spray and all that kind of stuff, and then put this cold undersuit on. Pack the clothes in your dry bag, as I mentioned before, but don't worry about wearing them until after your dives. In the morning, get into your undersuit. No one else is going to notice. Well, no other scuba divers are going to notice or say anything. That way, you're putting all of your body heat into it, and you're just going to throw on your dry suit and go for the dive. You don't have to have that awkward underwear moment when you're trying to get changed on the deck of a boat. Sort your feet out. If you have a small piece of grit on your foot or a fold in your sock, an hour of finning is going to find it, and it is just going to be the most annoying thing throughout the entire dive. So take particular attention to cleaning your feet just before you put your socks on or your boots on, and when you're kitting up. Make sure everything that is on properly so that your socks don't slip down, the sleeves or your trouser legs don't slip and bunch up anywhere. Just get dressed slowly and methodically, making sure that everything is perfect. And if there's something that's getting annoying whilst you're getting dressed, then sort it out then and there, because that little thing is going to get really annoying when you're 30 meters underwater. And finally, use a torch just at all times. Torches aren't just for night diving. They're really useful for communication, both active and passive. When I used to lead dives, I'd often shine my torch downwards and behind me so that divers following me could easily see my torch beam and follow me even at a distance. If there's poor visibility, they can still pick out that light. With most of our gear being black, we disappear quite easily, but an illuminated dot just stands out far further so other divers can see you. And as long as they can see your torch beam, it's kind of relaxing to them. They know where everybody is, and if the torch beam is moving nice and calmly, then they know everything's fine. If it's more erratic, then they know they might need to help. So even if there's plenty of sunlight, you can see what's going on. Just turn your torch on, and it just helps others see you from a bit of a further distance. Hopefully some of those will just make your life a little bit easier and diving safer. But as always, if you have any tips or tricks that you found useful in your experience, by all means, let everybody know down in the comments below. Remember to head over to simplyscuba.com for all of your new scuba diving gear. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.